When I graduated high school, I had wanted to go to college for special ed and that type of thing. And but when I graduated, our counselors at the time at the high school, I'm not putting it on them, I'm not putting it on them at all, but I'm just saying I didn't know about all the opportunities that I would have in 1973 and everything. So I didn't know what I wanted to do then. And my father had worked with this gentleman at his work over at George Cook Sons, and his daughter had just joined the Air Force. And Daddy had told me, he said, well, if you want to talk to the Air Force or the Navy, but not the Army or the Marines, okay. So, and I had grown up never wanting to do anything with military because my father served in Korea and he was shot in Korea. So in my little girl head, Uncle Sam shot her daddy in my little girl head. So I wasn't gonna have anything to do with the military. So just the fact that he even recommended it to me or even said it to me was wonderful. And so we went over to Evansville and I talked to the Navy and the Air Force. I did better on the Navy test, but the Air Force treated me better. So that's where I went. And I was going to do 4 years. And my friends were in college for 4 years and I could go to school in the Air Force for 4 years. And I liked it and stayed for 22. So lo and behold, anyway, it was a wonderful fit for me and everything. I missed a lot being gone from here. I came home on leave all the time and everything, but it was a wonderful career, wonderful career. I went in on a guaranteed field called, was 30332, it was radar repair. I would have been at top of some radar site on top of Tule Greenland or somewhere, so that type of thing. So I then went to school down in Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi, and was in the first phase. Didn't even make it out of the first phase. It was eat up with math. I'm an English person, words versus numbers. And I went, oh my gosh, I was on a guaranteed career field and they're going to send me back home to Henderson without my bags packed or anything. I thought to myself, they put me on casual status. So you're picking up all the trash, cigarette butts and everything else, or everybody else there on the base, oh joy. And they had a runner come to me from our personnel office and said I had to go see the base DA. I went, oh gosh. I watched Perry Mason. DA was district attorney. I thought, oh Ramona, you really messed up. You didn't just fail out the class here. So I went and saw the base DA and I walked in and saw this female zebra. I had seen, the highest grade I had seen was what I have on me right now, and on a woman. And here she is, has all 8 stripes that you can get. And I went, oh my gosh, to myself. And then, so I was talking with, well, I met her, and then there was another female lieutenant colonel, which is a company grade officer. And there was only, well, for a chief caddy, there was only about not even 1% of women in the military had even attained senior NCO status, much less Chief Master Sergeant. So at the time I didn't realize what a treasure trove I had been given. That they were the best mentors, oh my heavens, the best mentors I could have ever had in the Air Force. I mean to tell you, they taught me everything. They told me how to stand up for yourself just because you're a woman and everything. You're going to do this, this, and this, and never, always had my back. I mean, helped me so very much. As a matter of fact, I wanted to go on the base honor guard. So I went down there, it's in the security police headquarters and everything. So I went down there on the base honor guard and told them I wanted to apply, and they told me I couldn't because I was a woman. I said, okay, well, I mean, I'm 18 years old. I didn't know, so I just turned around and said, thank you, and went back to the office and told Colonel Atkinson. Colonel Atkinson asked me, well, what happened, Ramona? So I told her, and she goes, come here. No. She took me by the hand, marched me down to next door to the Inspector General's office and said, you tell him what you just told me. Yes, ma'am. So we walked down there and I told him, and I became the first woman on the Keesler Air Force Base honor guard. And then shortly after some others came, but I didn't realize what a trailblazing thing that was. I was working for the National Park Service at the time, and I was working remotely from my home, and I got an email inviting me to apply for the Kentucky's Honor Flight. I went, okay. I don't know how they found me, but I mean, that I was honored. I said, oh my heavens. And it was the Kentucky's first and only so far all-female honor flight. Kentucky was the second state in the Union to do it. We were just 2 weeks behind Florida. And so it was an SEC person, so that was good. Anyway, so I applied, and we were going to go in 2020, but then, you know, COVID. So we're going to try 2021, and it was still pretty rampant. So in 2022, we finally got to go. And even though I had been stationed there and worked at the Pentagon and was stationed there for 7 years, I didn't see all these monuments through the eyes of these incredible women. So I was honored to be a part of them. There were 132 of us, and we each had a military escort, a female military escort that had been in the service themselves. So we had 264 women on this plane. We had our own plane, our own flight attendants, our own pilots, everything. I said, oh boy, didn't have to go through security. I said, I'm not flying any other way now. This is wonderful. And so before we left, we left from Owensboro. No, excuse me, I take that back. We left from Louisville. What am I saying? We left from Lexington and flew out of Bluegrass Airport, I think it is, there in Lexington. Yep. And we had, they gave us t-shirts. We all had on the same t-shirts and everything. And when we got up to start walking to our gate and everything, they had bagpipes. They had this one playing bagpipes, and the military had swords over our heads that we walked through and everything. I'm going, oh my heavens, before we even got on the plane. And so we're getting on the plane, and we get on the plane, and the firemen are going to do what they call a fireman salute. None of us knew what that was. So we're sitting in our seats, and then there was a fire truck on each side of the wing, and they started spraying the water over the plane. And when the water comes down over the windows, that's your salute. It was incredible. I never had seen anything like that in my life, and it was wonderful. So we flew to D.C., and when we got there, it had the same fireman salute when we landed at, I still want to call it Washington National, but it's Reagan now. And so we go in, and there's like a barbershop quartet singing to us. People are hanging off of the second story there, waving and shouting and thanking and everything, and we're going, oh my heavens, we're just overcome with all of this. And so when we get to our buses, and we had about 2 buses of us, and they were taking us everywhere. And I don't know if people had only seen maybe one other all-female honor flight, I guess, I don't know. But it was a wonderful thing. I gave you all that story, but I mean, it was a wonderful to be with these women. I mean, we had our highest rank was retired Major General. She was a nurse. She was the highest ranking that we had. We had Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and we had Coast Guard in there too. Just the camaraderie, if nothing else. I mean, I'm blessed, thank you Jesus, that I don't have any disabilities or anything from the military. And I know a lot of these men do from their time either in Vietnam or Afghanistan, wherever they were. And so you can file a claim with the VA through there, because we have a VA representative that, well, she did come in person, but now we have to get a new one, and we're doing Zoom for the time being until they get another person, and they'll be stationed in Hanson, Kentucky, so they come up here for this. And then we have guest speakers. Glenn brings in guest speakers either from assisted living places, insurance places, or even funeral homes for some people, and everything that we might need. I've been every year he's had it. Mr. Fiddler was going to do it just the 1 year, I think is what somebody told me, but he liked it so much he wants to make it an annual event. And he has, it's for active duty military, retired military, first responders, policemen, firemen, their families, all of it. And they have, they have tables of people there that have, from the library, suicide prevention, VA benefit things, they had a beekeepers thing there this time too, because they do it. It's for the military. I mean, they do it for the veterans, and you have behavioral health is there. They have what they call that row. There's a name they call that row.
Resource row.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. That's it. Resource row. I can think of the word. Yeah, resource row, and I go to every table, and just to see. And I always take somebody with me who's blind, and then I take him around, and he loves going. He was a horseman for 75 years, and he's what 82 now. But anyway, so we go, and Miss Kentucky's there. She, what was it, not this year, but last year, she sang the national anthem for us. This year, Miss Kentucky was talking to a lot of people. She went around and talked to everybody. Mission Barbecue feeds us all. And we get to see the horses. I fell in love with Baby. He's a white horse, oh my gosh. His name is Baby. And I get to brush him and groom him and all of that. And we go on hay rides, get to see his sprawling 62 acres or whatever he has out there. And so it's just a wonderful experience just to be out there. And I had heard, I mean, I didn't know what this was about, but when they came to Coffee with the Vet, I can't talk, I'm so sorry. When came with Coffee with the Vet, Healing Reins, and Mr. Fiddler came and was talking about horses for heroes, the woman from Healing Reins told us about the gifts of horses. I guess you can call it that, I don't know. But within a 30-foot radius around every single horse, they have this, I don't know if it's an aura or what it is, that they can put off onto you, and they can take it from you, whatever it is. If you're down for something, if you're feeling bad or whatever, and you just lay your hands on these horses or you're brushing them or whatever, and it goes away. I mean, I felt like I lost 50 pounds the first year I went. I didn't even think anything was wrong. You don't have to have anything wrong. You just feel better being around these horses. You don't have to even touch them, but you're just being around them. And then that's what she was telling us. I said, well, that's why I felt so good when I left that first time. Not because just the company was amazing, because you're there with like-minded people and everything, and people who appreciate what you are and what you've done and everything. But just the fact that you can get such relief from being around these horses. They bring you a lot of peace. I would tell her to think about which branch of service she wanted to go in. I would highly recommend the Air Force just because that's what I was in, and I didn't feel any different than the men on how I was treated there in the Air Force. Now, I don't know if it would have been like that in the others, I don't know that. But the Air Force, they just treated us wonderfully. And if you can get through 6 weeks of basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, then you pick if you're not going in a guaranteed career field, then you are given one when you sign in at the base and you go through the personnel office and everything, they'll sign you one. But as far as what it takes to do this, you have to have something that you want to do that's bigger than yourself. It's bigger than yourself, what you're doing when you do this. And it's not corny at all, but I mean, I wanted to serve my country. And whatever way that meant, if I could do it with the military or whatever, that was the best place to do it. And so many people had gone before me. I had military in my family, but nobody had retired or anything from the military. They had uncles that served in the Marines in World War II, Iwo Jima, the whole bit, all of that. But I didn't have anybody and this is not a military town, so. But I wanted to serve my country. I don't know how else to say it. And I'm in the Daughters of the American Revolution for one thing, and to see what they went through, oh my, to even preserve this country, to make it the United States to begin with, and then us to make sure that what they preserve for us, we protect, and we make sure that it always survives and thrives here. And if that means that we can go and serve, we will go and serve.